game and they did win. And then now we know that this is the real thing. And just a few moments ago, for someone who is listening either in replays or has tuned in already, because usually I get some LinkedIn messages, maybe an email. I've even gotten a text message saying, hey, I saw the show today, but for whatever reasons, they weren't typing comments in as well, because I don't know. I usually invite people who are very busy. I don't even know how you carve out the time when you're on vacation, at work, between clients. I just am so grateful. But for anyone who's watching this live or in replay, I told my very kind new friend, Vince, hold on, stop, don't share anymore, because he was already giving us some gems of information. And I wanted to make sure that they really came out during this part, because it's really not fair when I tell people, oh, you should have heard what we were talking about when we were over. 3 people stayed on the screen, or somebody and I talked for half an hour. And it's like, well, that's not really fair that you get to, and I'm like, you're right. Every week I get to see the show, and because I'm hosting it. So I feel very, very honored. We've got 3 people on the screen in Texas. We're all going to wave right now. We're all in Texas. And then, no, Vanessa, you can't wave. You're not in Texas. She is in, well, you are in Atlantic time. So Vanessa, since I picked on you, this is your chance to get me back. Do you want to share where you usually are based? I'm sure you would, since that is how I found you, because you were making wonderful comments on other people's posts. And if you want to, you can share where you are currently, anything about that. But this is our chance to really get to know each other.
So I'm currently in Dominican Republic, enjoying the nice hot sun. Yay! But I'm usually based off Canada, Ontario. So I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. And there's 3 letters that are part of, yes, PSW. And, you know, I don't know. I was looking around. I wasn't reading the fine print. But I'm going to have you say it, because I believe it begins with personal. Is that correct?
Yes. So it's called personal support worker. That's the term here in Canada.
Yes. And I used to see giant billboards saying DSP in Oregon. And I think it's along the same lines. This is a person who's assisting. This is a person who has a shift to fulfill. They may be making notes. They are definitely interacting. And does this also have to do with activities of daily living? Is that what it's about?
Yes.
So tell us more about, you know, what needs to happen there, because I've lived it. But I think you're probably, as a supervisor, owner.
No, owner.
Yes. Okay. So
I have
you
a big
know.
Yes. So, do you mind if I share just a short story of how my journey started?
I'd love it.
Okay, thank you. So I was the employee that the big corporations wouldn't listen to, because I would come to them with my concerns, and they would say, you know, this is not your problem. They're the company's clients. They're not your clients. And I would feel so bad for them, because I felt my hands were tied. I can't help them. So now, being an owner, I could actually help them the right way, the way it should be. And I feel like I have a super to make a difference, because the way my business works,
So Vanessa, I don't know why, but your frame is freezing. So I
Oh,
am going to come back to you when I see that you're moving around. I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish the story because you are animated again.
okay.
You were in a situation where you're like, what do you mean this is, the owners own the clients? I'm there. I see the need. I know what it ought to be. So go ahead with how you ended up
Sure.
developing this.
So the way my company works, I like to take pictures. I like to send a report at the end of each visit, and I want to include the family, make them feel a part of the process because it's not just about hiring me and I send you a PSW and here's the bill at the end of the week. No, I want you to tell me what you need because you were doing everything before I came to help you. So you know how things you wanted to get done. So I'm just here to support you extra. And I like to add the whole family in a chat, put them all together, and please, I want to hear your concerns and your ideas how we should help your parents better, because ultimately I'm your eyes and ears, and this is how I base my company off. Like, I want you to be a part of the process because that's what you hired me to do, and I love helping people, like, from the bottom of my heart. And this is what it makes me happy, that I can see their relief. They're like, oh my god, you're gonna listen to me, are you ready to hear my ideas? Absolutely. Because I'm your eyes and ears, and it makes me so happy that I can do that. And it's a blessing to be in their homes, you know. And that's what sets me apart from the big companies. We're a small company,
Yes.
but I'm trying to get bigger, and I want to give people the better quality of care. And I want everyone to benefit from this. So that's me.
Listening to the people themselves. It's something that groups, maybe they work for the government or something, come in and say, you need to ask the people. I got to be in a conversation this week with someone who, for mobility, has always used a wheelchair. And it takes a while for people to go, well, we know how to design an interior. We know how to make I mean, it's like, what about the person themselves or a person who lives this way for you to realize, well, that's not going to do you any good if at the bottom of the ramp is loose gravel. It works in other situations. Talking to the experts, that's what you're doing, is you're listening, you're validating they've seen years maybe of situations. They're able to, oh my goodness, you're wonderful. That's why I wanted you to be here today. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yay, let's meet Connie. Connie, you've got charts behind you. And I think this will not be unfamiliar, maybe, to Vince. Maybe he's never heard of or been near anyone doing Tai Chi. I don't know. But you just, you caught my eye because I'm like, this is different. This is a different approach. And I decided that I didn't want it just to be aging and caring, because that sounds like what you're losing, how you're having to change. It's being forced upon you. But it's like, every day I'm aging, every day I'm moving forward. I can have a forward focus, and I might want to try out Tai Chi and see what it does for me, or what is there that so many people are attracted to. Um, I I need to hear from you because now you're the expert.
Well,
Go right
Christine,
ahead, Connie.
first of all, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate being a part of this group with Vince and Vanessa. I think it's going to be a great conversation. You know, myself, I was drawn to Tai Chi because in our country, the things that we die of the most is falling. So Dr. Paul Lamb has created this Tai Chi for Health Institute, which is evidence-based, meaning that it's globally recognized. It has the evidence behind it saying that you don't have to, we're not going to the Olympics maybe with this Tai Chi. It's Tai Chi for health. So we do Tai Chi for fall prevention, Tai Chi for memory. Having been a caregiver for aging parents, grandparents, then I really thought I need to age well. I was a caregiver beginning at 25 years old, and I absolutely hated the way that we age in our country. And in Alzheimer's care, the best thing we can do, we say, is dancing. And I thought, how many older adults over the age of 60, 65, 70 can dance, can have that social engagement, can have that physical? But with Tai Chi, we're slow dancing. We're learning things, and we can do it seated. We can do it with people's, what I like to call, their unique considerations. And we use imagery just like basketball players would when they're thinking about bouncing the ball to the hoop. If we can't lift our arms all the way up, then we just do it just to our comfort zone. And so Tai Chi, even though it is not a Western, since it is a martial art, it's not a Western exercise. What attracted me to it is that anyone can do Tai Chi. So I've been practicing this since 2017, and it is so wonderful. I'm excited to hear from Vince, because the whole goal is the mind-body connection. I suffer from depression. I was a caregiver, so I had a lot of guilt, a lot of depression. Oftentimes the caregivers, we say they die before the people we're caring for.
Yes.
So Tai Chi has that, the mind-body connection. And so it doesn't require any special, what I would say, equipment or anything, and anyone can do it. So I have seen that just being in the community, it reduces the social isolation, the loneliness. When I see the people say, I came in with the cane and the walker, but my legs feel stronger, I feel like I could do it, then I'm thinking there's not a better gift than that. And not only can the older adults do this, people at any age can do it for their emotional regulation and the breathing, being in the present moment. My whole goal is for people's health span to equal their lifespan. My grandmother was in a nursing home the last year of her life. And the other thing I observed is, even in the nursing home, the people that can move, they get the better care. So it's the movement. It's basically learning things like people living in the blue zones, even though it may not be our culture, we have a United States Tai Chi community, and they're all races, all groups, all ages that are doing this Tai Chi.
Did you say unique considerations?
Exactly, because
that was a great phrase.
I mean, we don't want to highlight someone's disability. There is something that stood out to me years ago. There was a gentleman, he had many unique considerations. His arms were very short. He didn't have limbs. I don't know if he was a Vietnam veteran or a veteran of some kind. And he had to have a wheelchair that was automatic. And I remember the activities director in the place that I was in, a senior apartments, they said, oh no, sir, you can't come in and do the Tai Chi. And I said, oh no, he most definitely can come and do the Tai Chi, because it's imagery. Remember, if he didn't have the ability to lift his arms all the way up, he just lifted them up, but in his mind, he's lifting them up all the way up, like that basketball player that's shooting that hoop. And you know what? Our brains do not know the difference. People often don't want to talk about Alzheimer's, but you know what they will talk about? Brain health. And they'll talk about what their goals are. Most of them want to age in place. They don't want to go to nursing homes. That's not the favorite or desired place for them. So we want people to achieve their goals. And the bonus is the caregivers, the families can also do this for their own mental health. It is very draining for someone to take care of, especially someone with Alzheimer's. It's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So that means you must have some type of self-care plan, something you could do, even if you can't go out to the gym or ride the bike, but something you can do in your home via Zoom. There's classes via Zoom. Of course, there's classes in person. And so that is what really drew me to that. And I didn't know anything about Tai Chi before 2017. I never thought I would be an instructor. And here I am.
I know more about Tai Chi right this moment than I have from all the, walking by a building with windows, peeking in for a moment or something that on TV or something like that, just from all the descriptors. And I was just thinking that I observed again and again was the difference in body awareness of just, where am I? What's under me? How close am I to something? Is it, that's moving. How am I going to negotiate that? Changes into a sort of a clutch on a walker of I can't leave this walker. And yet I saw those same people, some distraction, or sometimes it was an emergency or perceived emergency. And I saw that person hustling across a cement floor because they forgot the walker and the cane. And so I knew that body didn't need to cling to something that gave stability. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, this person. Plus, you mentioned Alzheimer's. I've seen on a documentary a person who had not used a spoken word in a number of years. But as soon as movement was felt and there was participation, this person was all about it and became beauty and expression. And I think, wow. So for brain health, starting in with routines like Tai Chi, and then at a point where other things aren't easily activated the way that you express, or like you said, the attention, it's like they don't talk anymore and they don't move anymore. It's like, no, as soon as they saw someone doing Tai Chi, it's like there's familiarity. I remember that great feeling of noticing my own balance. So this, I don't know, you make me excited about what I might do.
So there is such a thing as
healthy
aging. Healthy aging it might look different for everyone, but it's possible. And that's what I found in Tai Chi. So that's what I like to bring to others.
Awesome. Hey, Vince, you heard a few things. Connie, thank you. You said depression. You talked about yourself. Maybe a unique consideration that you need to be aware of. There's indicators, and what have I done that continues my health even when this is part of who all I am too. Vince, I'm just going to let you go, because Vince did not have to steel himself to get on camera today. He's very accustomed to being on camera, and he's got
occupational hazard. Yes.
Yes.
That's why I have my pin on right here. I can tell you, matter of fact, I'm going to give you a scenario here. If you hear noise in the background, I'm in my boss's office, my news director's office, and she's over here setting up a feed. We have to send some things. So I wanted to let you know that. But yes, First of all, I'm honored to be here. And Connie, I would love to share a story with you about Tai Chi. Although I've never really done it per se, I can tell you from 2 trips to China, my children are adopted. We brought them both home from China, and both times we were in Guangzhou, which used to be known as Canton. That's where the adoption headquarters are in the city parks. The elderly population do Tai Chi. They do it out in public, and they get in there in the morning and they have in the evening time, and it's a community type of event, and it is positively fabulous to watch. And it's positively fabulous to see them engaged in doing something like that for their physical wellness, for their mental wellness, if you will. And that made a very huge impression on us. And I'm so glad that that we're organized here in our country, and that you're here with these different things like that with Tai Chi, because it's such a great tool that really anybody can use on any level of movement, any level of mobility that they have. And I know that you have the different modifications that you can do for that, because sometimes you need to sit, sometimes there may need to be props there, etc. But they can do it. And it's the viability, it's that engagement with life, if you will, that is so important in the aspects of aging. So I am simple. I was like Christine. I was intrigued by everything you had to say, and positively fabulous. I would like to offer just some conjecture, and I want to make sure that I'm staying within my scope of practice. Once again, I am a NASM trained certified personal trainer. NASM is the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and my personal training practice, although I don't do it full time, is designed to be for people 35 and above, and in particular, an emphasis on our senior population, so that their best years of life can be ahead of them and not behind them. Because maybe there are some diminished capacities that do come along with aging. And I'm sure you all know that approximately 1 in 5 seniors in the United States have experienced mental health concerns due to just the normal parts of aging. And by 2030 is expected to be up to 15 million people. But that doesn't mean that the wisdom that we have doesn't mean we can't still move and move better. And it's vitally important that all of us, that all of our population, in particular the seniors, know that they have a place. They have a prominent place in what we're doing. And if they have the different facts at their fingertips and know where to go to get them, my scope of practice is to give you an overview, a 40,000 foot level of what some of the seniors can do. Aspects of wellness are, if they can be balanced, if they can have that community, if they can know that if they're experiencing depression, if they're experiencing anxiety, if they're experiencing isolation. I'm sure everybody knows here about the isolation that seniors can have, and that it's okay to not be okay, but so many stigmas associated with mental health. The differences between mental health and mental illness, there's a definite difference. But do people know? Or is it one of those things where we're saying, well, I'm not crazy. I'm not one of them. Oh, I'm more than fine. But I don't know why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing with that. Did you know that poor mental health and mental illness, you know how much it costs our general population, our businesses every year in our country? I want you to just throw out a low number for me. Anybody care to play along?
So how much it costs in US dollars?
Yes, ma'am.
So who knows? Vanessa may know all this information for Canada.
Okay. Vanessa, in Canada, and that's lost productivity. Okay. That's absenteeism. That's also healthcare costs. Okay. Those are the 3 driving factors for that. I don't know how much.
I would say at least 1 billion, at least. Yeah.
And I'll show you what it is in the United States.
Yes.
The low end is 300 billion. The high end is 1 trillion. Now, is that something that we want to continue ignoring? Is that something we want to continue to say, no, that's for somebody else and not me? No, it costs every single one of us. And it's a conversation that, again, and this is where we have to take intersectionality into consideration, because in many cultures, and this is rightfully so, it's a conversation you don't have. One of the jobs that I did before I got back in media full time, and also my personal training practices, I was the senior director for communications and marketing and non-grant fundraising for the local mental health authority in Central Texas, and we had a FEMA crisis counseling program because of COVID. The grant was created. It was a temporary grant. It was a 22-month grant designed to help people with free, anonymous, and confidential mental health support for anybody affected directly or indirectly by the pandemic. Normally, these things are for what they call boom disasters, like a hurricane. Harvey, for instance, in Houston, Connie, you know all about how the havoc that a hurricane can do. Well, there's also mental health issues in that. And people don't need to come in for an intake, but they just need that support. Well, in the research that we found in doing our program here was that for many populations, it's number one, we don't talk about it. Number two, we handle that in-house. We don't want anybody to know. And go talk to your preacher. Pray it away. Pray it away. Pray it away. Question is, who's helping your preacher? And as caregivers, you all know this. Who's helping you? Who's helping the first responders? Okay. And for seniors the thing is, that was, back in the day, that's just something you didn't talk about. Well, mental wellness is one of the 8 dimensions of wellness that you have. And it's one now, thank goodness, that we're starting to address. And what I would encourage people to do is contact, no matter in Texas, there is a local mental health authority, LMHA, for every area in the state. In the Central Texas area, it is the Heart of Texas Behavioral Health Network. That is for McLennan County, which is suburban and Metro Waco. Also, Hill, Bosque Hill, Limestone, and Freestone counties. Connie, where you are, I'm sure you're familiar with the folks at Harris.
Why'd you leave?
Am I gone?
Oh, no, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Vanessa, what'd you say? Oh, okay. Somebody else. Gotcha.
Connie, I don't know if you're familiar with the Harris Center or not. The Harris Center is the local mental health authority, the local IDD authority. They have numerous resources for people, and in particularly seniors. I know here in the Waco area, the Behavioral Health Network has the Heart of Texas Counseling Center, which works a lot with the senior populations for those aspects on aging, because we can't know what we don't know. So on the mental health front, it is vital that people know where their resources are. And if we don't have those resources, have their caregivers find out about those resources. And for our caregivers, who's taking care of you, you're having to can you give from an empty cup? Depression, anxiety, isolation. There's also, again, those aspects. There is grief. Oh my gosh, there's grief. So I hope that's of value to you there. On the physical front, the biggest thing I can offer you that I do with my senior clients is, number one, you are okay right where you are. And it is not too late. As a matter of fact, the time to start moving is now. But to make sure that you have your professionals that are able to properly assess their movement, to understand the aspects of aging, for instance, your physical changes, your skin changes, your bone changes, your bone density. Do you have some of the men and predominantly women that have osteopenia or osteoporosis? Those are big factors there. You can't just go, get out there and walk and walk and walk. Well, you know what? That may involve some things that are, again, some contraindications, if you will, of your movement. The social changes and the psychological changes, they're all involved in that. So making sure that you have trainer or you have programs. The Silver Sneakers program is always really good for your seniors. And I would say physically, the biggest thing I've had to work with a lot of the folks on aspect of aging is making sure that their glutes, that their backside, if you will, that their glutes are as strong as they can be. in particularly the glutes that move you sideways. Okay. We all know about the muscle called the gluteus maximus. I think we can all agree we know what the gluteus maximus is. Do we know what the gluteus medius is? The gluteus medius is what enables you to move. You're able to, the joint motion of your glutes is your, for your gluteus maximus is what you call hip extension. In other words, being able to move your leg. This is my leg, being able to kick it backward. That's when your glutes tighten up. Okay. That's enabled you to extend, open up the angle between your hips and your spine. That's extending. Okay. Well, what about going sideways? That's what they call abduction. You're taking the joint. Okay. The muscle is moving the joint away from the midline of the body. Okay. So when you, like the word abduction, you think of a child being abducted. The child is taken away. Well, the joint motion for being able to move sideways is taking the muscle to move the joint away from the midline of your body. If you're able to strengthen those muscles, and that's just moving sideways, also you can sit down on a chair, get a resistance band, and you see many seniors, many folks who are aging, they move those knees outward. Okay, that's going to strengthen that gluteus medius. Now, what is the benefit of that to really anybody, but in particular folks that may not have strong glutes? The predominance of falls happen because the glutes are not strong going in all directions. If you lose your balance and go this way, if you don't have a strong glute, you're going to fall. And what is it that there's a 60% chance of once somebody has a fall, they never really totally recover from that? If what we can do to prevent falls, that's the biggest thing. So I know I, in particular, if someone has, if they have not had any kind of physical fitness for years, I sit them on a chair and get a very light resistance band and just have them move their knees outward, move it outward, and do it until you become somewhat fatigued. That's going to help. There's a benefit from it. It doesn't have to be go hard, you know. I don't know about you. And again, I will tell you, I am among a senior population. Okay. I'm 61 years old. And I hope that my best years are ahead of me. But I have to take these things into consideration because what happens with our bone density, what happens with our muscular endurance, you just don't do it and you don't recover like you used to. But getting out and walking, getting that vitamin D and making sure that your glutes are strong and making sure that your shoulders are not hunched as much as possible. Get good people that know how to work with the aging population, and having folks that maybe, again, as we put in time on the planet, I don't know about you folks, but I think I'm darn justified sometimes of being stuck in my ways. It's worked for me. Well, that's the psychological aspect of it too. It's being able to have those, be able to identify and reach and connect with the area agency on aging, with the aspects of aging. It's that connection. It's the human connection. And Christine, you've been training for years. Connie, I know with your Tai Chi, and Vanessa, with your experience in Canada and where you are, you know the value of that connection. And that connection can stave off that anxiety. It can stave off that depression. And it can also, again, keep them in good enough shape to where they can get out and they can walk and they can go sideways and they can have a great grandchild or a grandchild and be able to hold that kid here and be able to pick them up. And if something happens to them, they'll be able to move and get them out of the way and keep them safe. There's so much value in that, so much value. And as in the caregiving field and in the healing arts, if we can do that, even into no matter what degree, we've done our jobs.
Wow. Vanessa, I heard two things that made me perk up and made me think of you. One was isolation, and one was who's caring about the caregivers who you can't just, like he said, you can't pour from an empty vessel. Was there anything else that Vince said, that Connie said, or that you didn't get to say right at the beginning?
No, and this is are all interesting facts because, Vincent and Connie, like we could all work as a team together and help so many seniors in need. And this is what we should be doing, talking about it and getting our message across because so many people are they're isolated at home and they don't get to see what there's around them to help them, right? And it's good that you're putting this podcast so other families and other seniors are aware of what's around them. And I'm glad that you invited me because I feel so honored to share this panel with these amazing professionals. And coming from being an employee and now a boss, it's a huge impact on the seniors. And I'm very honored to be here.
When you are interviewing someone, I don't like to put people on the spot. I just say this is unscripted and this is casual.
Yes.
But I would see other people, whether it was a hospice volunteer or worker coming in alongside me. Sometimes a 2-person lift was needed, and I am one person. So there would be another person that came in. So I saw other people in caregiving, and there would be this little thing in the back of my mind going, oh, when it's my turn, when I'm coming out of that injury, surgery, condition, whatever my situation, right now, not when I'm older, right now, I want that person by my side. And it honestly didn't matter to me whether it was male or female. It was their character quality that just was apparent. So when you are, as the owner, looking at people to be caregivers, are there any particular things that you're like, okay, this one's coming back for another interview, or I can't wait to hire them?
I look at their personality because I put them in situations where I want to make sure that they're taking good care of the people that we're helping. So I put them in various scenarios, and I'm making sure that they're actually doing what I'm supposed to do because families are trusting me to take care after their loved ones. So I don't take that lightly. And I'm saying, yes, I can do, I'm sending you qualified PSWs. So I'm making sure that they fit the guidelines within the interview. So first I look at the way they are behaving when I'm talking to them and see if they have the skills, what they're saying that they do. And I'm calling their references and I'm making sure that all this are being met because ultimately everything falls on me as a company. And right, so I want to make sure that all the people that we're helping getting the right care they deserve.
That's awesome. We are not at the end of our hour, but we can get really going on some stuff, and I look at the time and go, oh no. My least favorite part of any of this is shutting the curtains. So I just wanted to make sure that if someone is listening to this in their car or while they are assisting someone, whether it's their profession or whether it's their profession of love to this person, and you're not able to see what my hubby / producer has been so good at putting up on the screen when people are talking about their business or what they're about. But for Vanessa Vargas, VARGAS, it is PSW, Personal Support Worker.
Yes.
PSW to the rescue, all spelled out, TOTHERESCUE.com, to the rescue. Because if it was my turn to go, oh, we're not placing you in a facility, which is often considered an F word facility because it makes it sound very sterile and like you're on a conveyor belt. We'll get to you when we get to you, kind of a thing. But we are going to bring someone into this sanctuary that has been your home and the place where you keep your privacy, your dignity. You only give your best out in public, but we are going to bring someone in that you have not met before. And so to be able to go to a website, whether this is a person, a family in Ontario, Canada, or any person anywhere, just going, what am I going to feel good about? What am I going to be able to talk about with my loved one that we're just not, or I'm just not 6 to 9 people who have been trained, and we want this to continue. We want our family life to continue. We want you to have those sundry items taken care of so that you can spend the rest of the day doing what you want to do. Ooh, I'm so glad my husband moved things around so I would notice it. He knows me. 40 years, folks, 40 years. Liz Ditchburn, on holidays and working, Superwoman, OMG. Is that directed at Vanessa?
Oh, yes.
Do you know
Yeah.
Liz?
Yes, I know, Liz. Yes, yes. I actually go
Oh.
and get in with the community, with regular people, and just interact with them, listen to what they're going through. And I love connecting business owners with just regular people because so many people get scammed, and I want them to get the right person to help them. So that's the kind of person I am. I took it out of my PSW and just helping all around, just all the people. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. A person in, I don't know, I'll grab Colorado. Person in Colorado could call up. Vanessa would answer, and they're just like, I saw your beautiful website. I saw you on Aspects of Aging, which Vince has plugged for me at least 3 times while he was talking. Yeah. And I just feel like I can trust you. And you're just like, okay, you've come to that moment, and you need to get ready yourself to say, of course I need help. I'm not 6 to 9 people who would fill out a 24/7 shift and still be able to write all the notes and all this kind of stuff. So I could just imagine you saying, have you heard of this website that would be in your area? Do you know what an elder law attorney is? Something. They're just like, thank you. I have something to cling to. I have a direction to go, because you help connect, like you said, to regular people. I love that. Oh my goodness. Vanessa, we still have time. Connie, was there something else that you were like, oh, I want to say something about that?
I love Vanessa and how she's really connecting people. That's one of the things that I really love myself in my area, being a caregiver. With Vince talking about the mental health and caregiving, I mean, even in our senior population, that happens to be the population that I just love. And I tell people, you took my words, Christine. You said we're aging every day. I want my whole goal in Tai Chi, and I love it, is it's all generations. It's not an us and them mentality. And people, when I come in the room and they look at me and they say, "What are you going to tell us about healthy aging?" I was with one of my, they call them seasoned saints in different churches and all name. I even heard keen agers. I don't know if you've ever heard that. Keen,
Say it again.
Keen agers,
Oh,
teenagers
teenagers.
instead of teenagers.
We're
And I
trying to come up with the right word so that no one's offended.
exactly, but I will be 55 this year, and I tell people we're aging every day, and to be able to navigate the resources for healthy aging in the United States and beyond, wow, I mean it's something. You have to almost have a degree in Medicare, Medicaid, hospice, palliative.
Yeah.
But I had to focus, like I could be all around. I had to focus on one thing and say, what is the most important thing is the mind and the body connection. So mental health and physical health. Without that, I mean, that really is our wealth. In my mind, I'm thinking we need to healthy aging. People say, well, I have all these, what they call comorbidities, diabetes, and I have memory issues or whatever it is, and that's what attracted me to this Tai Chi. Dr. Paul Lam is he's retired of Western medicine, but he combined Western and Eastern medicine over 40 years. This is globally recognized Tai Chi all over the United States, but in different countries by city, county health departments, area agencies on aging, nonprofits. So this is information that a lot of times people might have taken a Tai Chi class and maybe it was very rigid and they thought, oh, it's not for me. But this is for everyone because we can even do it laying down. Teaching about how to regulate your breathing and how to be in the present moment. So to me, that we have workshops that are going on all over the United States and beyond. Dr. Paul Lam is actually in Australia, and so there's I was last night on a play Tai Chi session for the United States Tai Chi for Health and Community. And they basically, one of our master trainers is going to Belgium, is going to different countries, India, to so we can spread this to more. We can have more master trainers and senior trainers. And I think just movement and just getting in our mind that this is something that is doable, and it's not one group of people doesn't have the market on this. And I think that was a great attraction for me. And so I encourage people, find the resources in your area, find the silver sneakers, find the places, find maybe this is not for you. I think I saw something, a lot of the junior colleges have classes in Tai Chi, community centers. It's just a matter of trying to find those in your area, and caregivers. I mean, they really need that assistance to say, yes, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm having to deal with Alzheimer's is very difficult, specifically because I watched my grandmother unravel over 13 years, forget my name. I was named after her. And so that really gave me a passion for saying, this it doesn't have to be like this. Our older years can be our best years. Our older years can be. We just need to tap into, if it's art, we used to have a newscaster on TV. He used to say, good golf, good tennis, or whatever makes you happy. And I'm thinking the posture and the alignment and being able to be with community. When I was first doing the Tai Chi, I said, these are my people, and I wouldn't even think they were my people. We have to step out of our comfort zones. We have to think, you know what, let me try this. And if this doesn't work, let me try that. And let me try this, whatever it takes to help us age well.
Yeah, if I was going to put you on the spot, I'd have you show us some Tai Chi. I will not even try because it will not work out. And then I'd have Vince narrate what muscles and kinesiology is being put into effect here. And then Vanessa would say, now this would help with someone who has neuropathy and or is afraid to let go of their walker, and yet we know that they do, and we want them to be safe when they do, and it would just be a whole thing. I just wonder, this is really short, if there's ever like a Tai Chi performance, like you would go to see a ballet, you would go to see people doing 1950s dance and they're just really good at it, or the samba or something, if there is a Tai Chi type of performance, and what people feel when they watch other people doing amazing things with their body, and what it does to our endorphins and everything else. So, okay, I'm going to stop right there. We have a little bit of time. I want to make sure that I scroll up to, there she is. So, Connie, how do you pronounce? Let's both guess how you pronounce your last name. You first. That's my joke.
It's Asif. It's like ace and then if. Asif.
Good. That is exactly what I thought the first time I saw it. Connie Asif. And she has Tai Chi. If you don't already know, it is TAICHI, Tai Chi for Health, all spelled out, FORHEALTH, Institute.org. Tai Chi for Health Institute.org. And I am going to swing around to Vince. Is there something else you're like, oh, if I get a few more minutes, I want to be able make sure that I talk about those 8 facets of
ma'am.
health. And you can't just say, hey, look at my big muscles, I'm healthy. Because there's all sorts of other things that are going to affect you, even just your self-talk inside your brain, or just how you're feeling in general because of digestion. It all is together. So go for it.
It's all
Vince.
interdependent. And I'm going to give you, I put a resource up there. It's from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA. And SAMHSA really has some good materials on its website. And your 8 dimensions are financial, social, occupational, environmental, intellectual, spiritual, emotional, and physical. When these things are in balance, when you have that kind of wellness on the wellness continuum, then you have what they call a zest for life. And really, I think we can all agree here, as for folks in the healing arts, all the different aspects. Vanessa, yours, Connie, yours, Christine, as a veteran caregiver, and mine on the physical, on more the physical fitness aspect of it, and the experience in the mental world. It's having that great zest for life. Now, there are some things that can get in the way of that. When you were talking about comorbidities, you have different things, and then there's this is where the nuances come in. There's different cultural things that are involved in that. Again, you're talking about diabetes, and when we're talking about diabetes, we're talking about adult onset or type 2 diabetes. Mm-hmm. And that is one that is pretty much it can be, for the most part, reversible. But so much of the different things we have in our environment, because we're not financially well, you have areas that have food scarcity, you have areas that have housing scarcity. You're looking at what we have going on nowadays, you're having more and more. And what happens, you have to get the quality of you and the access you have to that. And you have to get what is affordable. You have to buy in bulk. And you may be getting things that are going to increase those type of things. And also, did you know that when it comes to something like poor mental health and mental illness, greatly exacerbate the 3 leading causes of death in America? Type 2 diabetes is one of them, stroke, and heart disease. It exponentially increases the risk of that. So that's when you're talking about that spirit-mind connection to mental and physical, and then the different things, all those other aspects, they can weigh on that. Ask any of us that have had financial concerns. What does that do? I don't know about you, but my anxiety ramps up. And then you get your depression, and then you want to isolate, etc. So it's understanding it's not necessarily fitness what we're after. As a certified personal trainer, yes, I want to train people, and my mission flat out is to have people who are 35 and above, and I do that for a wide range, but in particularly seniors, to have their best years be ahead of them and not be behind them. Because there's a reason why we say the golden years. And if I may, Christine and Connie and Vanessa, real quick, give you a quick story. My mother, and I was the baby of 8 children, okay? She reared 8 of us. And my mom is 90, she just now crossed 97 and a half. She's 97 and a half years old. She lives in assisted living. Physically, she's positively wonderful, although she has had to have both her hips and knees replaced. But mentally, she's dwindling. She's got moderate now to almost high, not severe dementia yet, because we do have good lucid conversations. And Connie, I was really interested in what you had to say about folks with Alzheimer's. You were named after your mom and doesn't remember, and that doesn't that just rip your heart out? It just rips your heart out. But at the same time, if folks can move in their senior years, mom goes. She was in a bungalow and in a bungalow at her assistant living place because she's enjoys being able to be very independent. She recently had to move in with the general population, but she has developed a walkway to where she can go out and take her walks. And then she goes outside and takes care of her plants and has her piano so she can play her piano and play her music the way she wants to, etc. She is ill, but she's well. And if we can encourage, as caregivers, encourage our clientele and our people to be well, to be more than just muscles, and Vanessa or Connie, when I forget what move this is, when you move outward, okay? I forget what they call that. You're moving outward. That is external rotation of the shoulder, because you're rotating the shoulder away from the midline of the body, which works the upper deltoid, okay, or what they call the rear deltoid. It also works the rhomboids, which attaches the back to the spine. Happy rhomboids, happy life, happy back, okay. And then when you move it inward, you're inwardly rotating the shoulder, the shoulder or the clavicle, and you're using the pectorals, the pectoral major, the pectoral minor, and you're also having some of the shoulder muscles assist that. Those are the things, and you do that. And if somebody is, for instance, if they're tight in, most of us, because we do everything in front of us, we're tight here and we're weak back here. If you can do twice as many this direction as you do this direction, you will develop balance. You will develop wellness. And instead of being hunched over, you may go from here to here. So I would encourage balance for your clients, balance for the people you're caring for, and balance for yourself. You can't give from an empty cup. And I will do whatever I can in the future to help you make sure you don't have to give from an empty cup.
That's my face now. And it's because I looked at the time. I have loved this, absolutely loved this. Vince, you talked about library.sam, after Sam, S-A-M, is HSA.gov. So library.samhsa.gov. And then there's a /sites/default/files. And there's a lot more there, but you've given us a start to finding information. I mean, that information, knowledge reduces fear. People are like, I'm afraid to get older. There's all these bad things. I'm afraid of people getting older. There's going to be so many more of them. And it's like, okay, we can help ourselves. We already are doing that. We are at the end of our hour. Vanessa Vargas, Connie Asif, Vince Erickson, Oh, I love doing this. That's why I've been doing it for a few years. I do not see an end to this. This is all good. I'm going to change. I think I am going to age on camera and still be doing this. And someone will tap me on the shoulder. I'm like, not yet. Let me finish this year. We got, season 49 here. So I just love each of you and your willingness to carve out this time. I will let you go back to your vacation, to your clients, to your newsroom. Thank you to all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Blessings, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.